Zai is an alumni and mentor of the Women's Leadership Academy of the U.S. Department of State. She was nominated for the Most Compassionate Womenpreneur Award, awarded the Kindness Advocate and Ambassador of VOLK, which is the Voice of Loving Kindness by Singapore Kindness Movement, and conferred as the 101 Most Fabulous Global Coaching Leaders of 2020 by the World HRD Congress. And she is recognized as iconic woman creating a better world for all in March 2020 at the Women Economic Forum. Despite her success momentum, little is known of the tragedy that struck her in April 2005 when she was 25 years old. After painful recovery from an incident that broke her spine and almost rendered her paralyzed, Zai's determination for the comeback redefined her life's mission, and that became a driving force for her to positively impact humanity. During her recovery, Zai knew that she had to step up, even when it means having to learn to walk all over again. Zai joins us today. She shares her story and also how she empowers others, how she managed to overcome her fears and doubts, and a framework that she used to turn any obstacles of pain into power. She has recorded her comeback journey through a semi-autobiography styled book titled Turn Your Passion into Profit, as well as 5 Things I Love About Being a Woman, both best-selling books on Amazon. So she reflects on how far she has come, and she also shares some tidbits on how you can find, respect and trust for yourself and looking inward as well. So I hope that you enjoy this podcast. I really enjoyed Zai's energy. Her story is always incredible to hear, and she is just fearlessly graceful.
Hi guys, my name is Zai. I'm from Singapore, and this is the start of how I am on my step up journey. So, Nicky, thank you for having me.
So, at 21 years old, you left Singapore to go to Japan, to Tokyo for 2 weeks to set up a henna store, and then ended up staying 6 months. So, how did a 2-week trip go to a 6-month stay? What happened at the stall?
Okay, so basically I graduated from school. I'm not a school dropout. So in school, I used to be a makeup artist, henna artist. I do a lot of modeling and stuff many years ago. So how did I end up in Japan first? So I met a friend, a stranger friend who became friends, say, hey, you know what? You should bring henna art to Japan. You'll make it big. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay. So she said, let's go for 2 weeks and see what happens. And then we arrived. It was still winter cold. I was expecting to do street art and stuff in Harajuku, in Shibuya, in Tokyo. And however, I had an opportunity to do events, henna art at events. Okay. They had a lot of indoor events during winter, like they call it the Let's Get Together LGBT party. Let's get together. So a lot of foreigners and locals meet. So I got to do henna art at the event. And then people requested that, can you teach us this art? The Japanese and the foreigners. Okay. So I said, okay, why not? So I started teaching it. So it was basic workshop, professional henna classes. And that led to media interviews. I was interviewed by Tokyo FM, the magazine, on TV, and why would I want to go back? Yeah. I was a superstar in Japan.
You made it big in Japan, like the song.
I made it big in Japan, exactly, like totally. So why would I want to leave? I was starting to make money, and I was teaching henna art to like professionals, like directors of radio station, working people, couples, not just like women, like husband and wife. It was an activity for bonding activity. I'm like, wow. So technically, I'm proud to say that my Miztiq Henna and Body Art company started in Japan first.
Yes,
and then when I went back to Singapore.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I went back to Singapore, I had this like, oh my God, I love Japan, the people, the culture. I want to set up a henna school there because I saw success and opportunity. So I went back to Singapore, and then media picked up our news that, oh, 2 Singaporean girls brought henna to Japan. And suddenly we became celebrity henna artists in Singapore. Again, media. We had 2 years in advance, bridal henna booking.
Yes.
Booking for corporate events. People wanted to learn from me and all. And I'm like, got stuck in Singapore, but it was good. Still making money. Yes. So sometimes I think the lesson out of this I'd like to share with the audience is, sometimes you feel stuck and trapped somewhere. You can actually just step out, get something done, come back, and magic will happen. Like,
Yes.
take the first step first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming at 21, you didn't even think about starting a henna stall or workshop or anything. What did you think your future was going to be as a profession?
I don't know. I just knew I wanted to travel. I knew I couldn't. So at 18, I went for a school internship. And 3 months I had to be in an office. The first week I knew I was not going to work in
Yeah.
an office. So at 18, I knew this. I'm like, I'm not going to sell my soul to the devils. It will kill my creativity. So I just knew that I was not going to be stuck in an office. Um, Nothing against 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I given a choice, I would want to go into corporate world right now to experience it. And I was like, no, no, no. I said, because I haven't, but with the entrepreneurial mindset and what I'm at, I would love to give it a go. But well, I decided that was not it. So I always found business opportunities to turn my passion into profit from
Yes.
Henna. And then I met with an accident. I was bedridden for a while. I had to
Yes.
learn how to find opportunities to start a business from home
Yes.
because I couldn't go out to work.
Yes.
Doctors gave me a letter of permanent disability, and I have 8 screws, 2 metal rods on
Yeah.
my spine as we
So
speak now.
just to quickly touch on that, it was at 25 that you had this traumatic car
Accident,
crash, yes, and
yeah,
it actually broke your spine, and like you said,
fractured and
you
dislocated,
were
yeah.
it was permanently disabled. So what went through your mind during the recovery process?
When the accident happened, I just told myself, "Oh my God, I cannot die. I'm not ready to die. My mom need me. Like, I cannot die." Like, that was all on my head. I think the earlier stage was I was still in denial. Like, I'm like, and doctors even said I will not be able to walk again even after the operation. 95% chance, no walking. But I was bored on the hospital
Yeah.
bed. I couldn't take it, and I'm like, get me out of this. Like, I want to try. Like, let me. So I had to learn how to walk again. Yeah, I had to learn how to walk
Yeah. Could you
again.
still use your
But
hands, or was it just the legs?
uh, it could have been neck down paralysis.
Oh,
Could
wow.
have been. But I was bedridden. I could use my hands. Yeah,
Yeah,
like at the time. But I was bedridden. I was on self-control morphine.
sure.
Yeah. Now I laugh. Of course, now I laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to recover? What was going through your mind while you were recovering and doing the
Yeah. So
physiotherapy?
what physio took me. I didn't know how to walk. I had to ask the nurses. Like, she said, "Okay, walk." I'm like, "How do I walk?" That was my first question. Imagine how we take such things for granted, right?
Yeah.
So crazy. And then it took me about 6 months to 8 months. Then I was still very dependent on wheelchair. I had a cast. I had my rib guard and stuff. But a year into the accident, I remember asking myself, why didn't I just die from the accident? Why am I still alive? What is this life? I started questioning God so much. Like,
Mm.
God, what do you want me to do? What is this? Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Yeah.
And that was my journey of running back to God, I guess. This is something very personal, but I'll share it. I eventually learned that we can think that we are doing everything on our own. We have the
Yeah.
power, we have the knowledge, we have the strength, we have the creativity, but without His will, we can't even lift up our hands.
Mm.
Yeah, this is something that I keep reminding myself every single day. I think this is something is we forget, right? Of course we forget. We're like, oh, we think we're on control. We want to do this, we want to do that. We hope for things, but like recently I posted something on my Facebook. Rejection is a redirection. It's
Yes.
God, God's way of crystallizing the clarity of our path to Him.
Yeah.
So to me, the accident was God's way of crystallizing the clarity of my path to Him. Because if that didn't happen, I would still be traveling. I mean, I still travel the world. I'm living in Dubai though now, and I think I would be so lost.
So that's a beautiful message, but I know that also one of your other messages that you often talk about and you put forward is about turning your pain into power. So how did you
Yeah,
use this accident, turning this pain into power?
yeah. So very good question. So that is like a mantra, right? Turning pain into power is something that I live by, and I also do keynote speaking on those topics. So when I knew I couldn't go out to work, I had a letter of permanent disability. I asked myself, what could I do from home? So then that was my journey, starting to learn about the religion. I wanted to start wearing the hijab, and I couldn't find any nice hijab fashion out there 15 years ago. Now we have culture hijab fashion,
Yes,
but
yes.
yeah, before nothing. So I said, okay, and I had a chance to travel a bit. I found some stuff. This thing that I'm wearing is something I first saw, and I found it because I thought, hey, this solves my problem. I feel good, I look good. So I put it up online, and then started my online business from home. My first 5 minutes, I made $25, and I'm like, dude, this works. Let's try. Yeah,
Yeah.
first 5 minutes, $25. I'm like, okay, there is something, and it grew into a full-fledged on home boutique, because I turned my room into a boutique, and from hijab to dresses to men's clothes, women's clothes, kids' clothes, and
Yeah.
it was so fun. And I actually also empowered other women who were staying at home, not just in Singapore. I had clients from BVI, British Virgin Islands, Caribbean, clients from New Zealand, other parts of the world, who I then eventually, B2C to B2B model. I started
Yeah.
supplying, materials and stuff to
Oh,
sell. And
wow.
so cool. That was one. And then it led to other stuff. I got bored. And then I'm like, I want to travel. I want to learn Arabic. So I went to Jordan, Morocco, Yemen for 2 years. So the
Amazing.
process of learning was so hard. And again, this is another way of how I turn pain into power, right? The process of learning was so hard. In Singapore, I tried learning. It was impossible because you don't get to immerse and practice the
Yes.
language. Because I'm like, how come in Japan I could speak Japanese in 1 month? Like, it's crazy. Why?
Because you're surrounded by it.
Yes, exactly. The immersion. So I was in Jordan, Morocco, Yemen to learn. It was so difficult. I cried every single day
Oh,
after school.
no.
I cried. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. This is so difficult. But I promised myself, I said, when I can do it, I am going to create a read, write, speak Arabic program, and I'm going to teach it to people. And truly, like after my trip from Yemen, I came back to Singapore. I was teaching Arabic business conversation to the uni
Okay.
students. I'm like, yay!
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
goosebumps.
Going from crying every day to teaching Arabic business conversations, quite the journey.
Really, yeah, I know. This goosebumps. So there's always a saying that it's in the Bible, the Quran, something I also hang on to. God will never burden us with what we cannot carry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
we
love that
forget.
saying. When did you get inspired to write your first book, that turning your passion into profit?
Yeah. So I was in Jordan, Morocco, Yemen. In the last week in Yemen, my mom was like, "Can you please come home? Enough of traveling. Like, alas, come
Can
home."
you
When
come
I
back
passed
home,
on,
please? We miss you.
yeah. No, she used emotional blackmail. She said, when I pass on, you can travel the world all you want. Now come home. I need you at home. I'm
Oh,
like,
shame.
okay. So yeah. So I came back. So what inspired me to write my first book was I had lots of people writing to me on my Facebook within that period when I came back. But I made a prayer. I said, God, what do you want me to do next? I don't know. Show me. So I had a lot of people ask me, how do you bounce back from the accident? How did I start my online business? How did I travel so much? So many questions. And I don't know, the best or the worst thing that happened was this magical message from my Facebook follower.
Mhm.
She texted me and she said, can I speak to you? And I'm like, okay. So I called her, and 10 minutes, she said, thanks for talking to me. I was just thinking of committing suicide,
Sure.
and I feel better now. Yeah. So when she said that, I'm like, of course, I was like, oh, sister, if you need anything, just contact me. Da, da,
Yeah.
da. But when I hung up, I'm like, what am I gonna do? This is serious, right? If one
Yeah.
person reached out to you, how many more people out there need help? So
Yes.
I said, it's not the henna business, it's not the hijab business, it's not teaching Arabic. What is it? I said, maybe I can teach people how to turn their passion into profit. Maybe money is the problem.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't have the title immediately. I was like, maybe I can teach people how to make money. Maybe money is the problem. So that's how we birth turn your passion into profit.
I love that you just had that ready. Yes.
Hello, maybe I should do that.
It's just hello.
Yeah. And then the book, within 6 weeks, 100 copies were sold. Of course,
Wow.
again, when I was gonna write, I was like, who's gonna read my book? Am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Like that, all the self-limiting beliefs. But within 6 weeks, 100 copies sold without anything, just Facebook audience. And then, okay, guys, I keep saying Facebook. This is 15 years ago, 10 years ago, okay? Now Facebook's a bit, but anyway, it's other platform. Yeah, so then people started calling me, crying, asking for more. I
Sure.
was like, I don't know, go figure yourself out. I already gave you some tips, right? And yeah, I wasn't prepared. And people cried, they want more. And I'm like, okay, so I did a workshop, step up workshop, for people together, like all the people who want to come by do trainings. So workshops became training, became speaking engagements, became coaching. I have a sisterhood mentoring program. So I've put everything under the umbrella of something called Step Up Journey, because
Okay.
all of us is on a step up journey, a womb to tomb experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what kind of programs and services do you offer on Step Up Journey?
So I got a couple of stuffs. One would be, of course, the book sales. We have books, ebooks, audiobooks, and our masterclass for the books that we've written. And then the other thing would be, of course, keynote speaking, and then coaching. Yeah, and of course, corporate training. So what started out with just women empowerment became youth empowerment. I told you
Yes.
this, right? The
Yes.
empowerment. So youth, we have brave leadership, be a warrior, not a warrior. And then
Yes.
there's also
I still love that saying, be a warrior, not a
not a
warrior.
warrior. But we worry so much every
I
day because
know.
we forget, but we remind ourselves. So then with the coaching of the kids, I realized that our parents needed help. So I grew up Awaken Parents program, resilient, confident parents raise confident, compassionate kids. That was such a beautiful workshop. I'm going to
Yeah.
write my next. So my second book is 5 things I love about being
Yes,
women.
I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, because I realized that women, not just women, I think men also struggle the same. We doubt ourselves so much. And there's a very big thing I would love to share with all of us, because I think it's something we all need to realize. We keep saying, I love you to the other person or to something. But
Yeah.
I love you for you, or do I love you for me? Heal from all of those shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very
Yes.
interesting. That's actually such an interesting way to look at it. Now you've got me thinking like, oh my gosh, when you say like I love you to someone, there's nothing wrong, obviously, with loving someone
No.
for you because they might bring out the best in you and they're supporting and encouraging. And sometimes you also need that reminder for yourself that you're a warrior, not a warrior.
Actually, I got inspired by this when I lost my mom 3 years ago. So in her last 6 months before she passed, it was so difficult, right? I was going through all kind of crazy things in my head. I had to be strong for her, yet inside I was dying and breaking every single moment. And I was like, what's wrong? Like, how do I do this? Like, and I didn't have much support from my friends or people I know much, because they're like, you're the motivator. What do I say to you? Like, what do I
Oh
say to
no.
this inspired woman? Like, then I realized presence is the greatest presence as well. But the part about I love you for you, I said, when I wasn't willing to let go of my mom,
Mm,
I asked myself, did I love her for her, or am I still loving her for me? That got me
yeah.
so sad and scared. I'm like, all these years I lied. No, it can't be. But you know what I mean? It got me
Yes.
thinking. That really got me thinking. I'm like, wow, how sincere are we in and unconditional are we with things we do? Are we self-sacrificial because we need that attention, that holding space? We need that,
Yes.
or because we want to, out of love, like seriously. Yeah. So
Wow.
Art of Love is something I wrote in my second book, 5 Things I Love About Being a Woman. So ART is to appreciate, respect, and trust.
Hmm.
A lot of time we expect people to appreciate us, respect us, trust us, because there's this hollow space inside us. And I'm
Mm,
still work in progress. I'm not angel perfect, whatever. We are all
yeah.
working and heal. So a lot of times we expect appreciation, respect, and trust from outside. But do we truly appreciate, respect, and trust ourselves?
Yeah. So, what would be a tip that you have for someone, battling with that, trying to look for that respect and trust in themselves? How do you find your way to that point?
I think before we even heal from it is to understand the trigger point. what caused that anxiety or avoidance attachment? What caused that shakiness in us? Yeah, so back to that question, all of this stems from insecurities because perhaps we all of us struggle from a wound of abandonment and
Yes.
rejection. 100%, like it or not. Like my mom might have said something, my dad left when I was one, or all of us are struggling. That little girl or that little boy in you is struggling. And sometimes something happened. Let's say we have a partner and the partner is having a hard day and he's numb. He doesn't react to something you said and he goes, and I'm like, now you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
Am I not worthy of being heard? Like, thing is so great. And when we have that, I use this now. I say when I have that ego voice coming up, I'm like, hey, little girl, chill. It's not
not
about your
about
ego.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about your ego. Chill, little girl. So I ask myself, is this from that ego voice, or is it truly that person is rude and something need to be addressed? And how do we communicate this with each other? It can be a sibling, it can be a romantic partner, it can be anything, it can be a business partner. But most importantly, you and your little girl.
Have that conversation with your little girl inside your head.
Little demon, little demon doesn't like you to be happy. And she's just like, no, you're gonna get hurt. No, they're gonna cheat you. Oh my God, I tell you, it's tiring.
And that's a
Half the
very
time.
tough conversation sometimes to have as well.
But you see, that's the scary thing. We shouldn't gaslight moments. We shouldn't like try to bypass anything. If someone is being rude and being abusive and being a time waster, you need to have the healthy boundary.
Yes.
So first, you need to check yourself. Second, you need to ask yourself, is there anything wrong with this relationship? It's not even about the other person.
Yeah.
It's about, is there anything wrong with the relationship? No, it's fine. Okay, it's me. But if there's really something wrong, someone's abusive, and that, I think it's important to say this because if someone's in a abusive relationship and they listen to it, oh, maybe it's just me and my ego.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's the dynamic of the conversation. It's the other party. It's your childhood. It's their childhood. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So mad.
Yeah, there's never only one right answer, but I think if say there isn't anything fundamentally wrong with the relationship, it's not emotionally or physically abusive or maybe lackluster of love or something like that. If it's just someone's had a bad day and then you're reactive and you react, then it's like, why am I reacting? I think that's important as well, just to come back to. And
that's why it's good for us to keep ourselves busy with activity that is purposeful. Otherwise, I just said it to my niece, do not be someone's, I heard Beyonce say it to Oprah, don't be someone's wife until you get a life. Because then,
I love that. Don't be someone's wife till you get a life. Yes. I love
so
that.
true, right? Because imagine if I'm feeling all these insecurities and I marry someone hoping that he will bring joy and peace for me. No,
it won't happen.
I'm gonna give him hell. He's gonna give me hell. Like that's how divorces happen, I think, because we don't even work on ourselves. But it doesn't mean you have to stay single all your life.
Yes.
Even being in any form of relationship or partnership is the one that helps you realize, oh shit, I have this flaw. I need to work on this. Like I need to work on this. I am tired. I want to be single, but then that's you letting your ego win too. So how do you be fiercely graceful? My new mantra this week.
Fiercely graceful. And speaking of fiercely graceful, there's a question I like to ask all the women that come onto the podcast is, what does feminine leadership mean to you?
Oh, I like this one. Something recently that I'm practicing. It's like feminine leadership would mean to me maybe 1 year ago, to be strong, to be so soulful, to be successful, you have to have it all. But to me, being feminine leadership today, you need to embrace your divine feminine energy. You need to be okay, not to be the one leading and to be strong, but it doesn't mean you're weak.
Yeah.
When you're not strong, you are allowing the masculine, the man, to man up.
Yes, to man up.
Yeah, we got this and this. Yeah, thank God. So we're allowing the men to man up and to grant them the permission to use their divine masculine energy. we're giving them the permission. Do you know we are stealing that from a lot of men? And that's why a lot of men are not manning up, because we feel like I'm in control. I can decide. I can afford. I can do this. I can, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can do that, do it for yourself. Let
Yeah.
them manage themselves. But if they need support, sometimes, yeah, I mean, there's many cases it is vice versa. Help, but they cannot be using us. We need to let them man up.
Yeah.
Go do something and find ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Mm.
that. And then moving into the next segment, which I like to call the ABCs of your career. So, I mean, I feel like we have touched on this with you going to Singapore, but if there is another A moment, so A, what was your amazing, affluent Oprah Winfrey aha moment?
Oh, so maybe aha moment. Wow, it's difficult because so many, but which one? I don't know now. Okay, wait. Aha moment, the present one, Dubai. Am I allowed to say this? Okay, I will. I think a lot of times people perceive things like, wow, she's having a good life. She's in Dubai. She's doing this. She's taking pictures of the birch. There's
Yeah.
pictures of all this Porsche and Lamborghini. Guys, I don't own the birch or those cars. I'm still me doing what I need to do. I hustle, I write books, I do what I need. And I'm just me. But people, like, I wore a black top with a black shawl sitting with an Arab woman. Oh, you look like royalty. Okay, thank you. But perception. This is an aha moment for me, not to believe everything you see.
I like that.
For 2 hours, I couldn't move. And then I'm like, God, I need to wake up. Nicky's waiting for me. And here I am presenting. Do I only have high energy? No, I'm human. I think people need to humanize humanity. And I'm
Yeah.
so scared for metaverse and what's coming. I'm like, I want a farmhouse with natural spring water.
Yes, yeah. No, we spoke about this metaverse. People already getting so caught up in social media and wanting their life to look a certain way online and virtual. And then now it's just going to become worse, because what if their life in the metaverse is better than in reality? Then what do you do?
Stay there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then
I'm
lose
scared.
human contact.
I'm very scared. I'm very scared.
And
Yeah.
B, what was your business blunder turned to blessing?
When my business partner, then we were doing our henna and body art business together, and it's just like, no, I want to do food business. And then I was like, really? Like, we've been doing this together. How? Like, I didn't know what to do. And then my mom, I was caregiving her, and she started to live with my sister.
Yeah.
Everything just fell apart for me. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do with life. And that was when I had time to write my first book.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah, Amazon bestseller, 2 books. Third book, The Parenting in the 21st Century, coming up. Sanity for Caregivers coming up. Just 20 other books coming up. So
Love it.
yeah.
Amazing. And C, what was a cinematic worthy cock-up moment?
Cock-up moment.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, that's fine.
Something like that. Yeah.
And so then just ending off the interview, I like to do a quick fire round of questions. So the first thing that comes to mind, just say it. So one is, if you could change people's perception about failure, what would it be?
It's worse if you don't try. Yeah, it's worse if you don't try.
Definitely. And two, the worst piece of advice you've ever received.
Oh, you're so beautiful and intelligent. Why are you not married?
Oh gosh. No.
Right?
Okay, that's probably the worst thing I've heard.
Don't get married. You need to have kids. I'm like, okay.
Sorry, why? For who?
Yeah, for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three, the best piece of advice you've ever received.
I'm sure it's something from my mom. Oh, I know. Every time I'm afraid when I'm going for a meeting or a speaking engagement or something, and I'm like, Mommy, I'm so scared. It's like, why haven't you done this before?
Yeah, why you've done this before. And I'm not too sure if you read a lot of fictional books or if you read mostly nonfiction. So, if there's any book that you could live in, which one would it be? Or if you don't read fictional books, what is a book that you would highly recommend?
Oh, I love so many books. I think everyone loves The Alchemist if you have read
Yes, I
that,
have
read
read
that.
it. It's
Kite
beautiful.
Runner. I read The Kite Runner, Khalid Hossein, and that inspired me. The storytelling was so wow. I'm like, oh my God, I want to write. That's why my Turn Your Passion into Profit is an autobiography. So it's like story and real life examples.
Yes.
And yeah, so yeah. Kite Runner, Alchemist, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Turn Your Passion into Profit now.
Yes, turn your passion into profit. Why you love being a woman, why you
Yeah,
love being a woman.
yeah.
And the last question is, if you could have 3 people over for dinner, who would they be, in dead or alive?
Oh, my mom, my best friend. We always eat together though. Yeah, dead or alive. Who do I want to meet? You.
Yay, that sounds like such a nice dinner party.
Yeah.
So glad I cracked the nut.
Anytime, dear.
Awesome.
We
Well,
are
that's
traveling now.
the end of the podcast. Yes, you said you're going to be traveling to South Africa soon, so we will have dinner soon.
Yes.
That'll be amazing. But thank you so much, Sai, for joining me on the podcast. I've
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed our chat. I'm sure there's so many tidbits and information and tips that have just come in, and your story is always so inspiring to hear and read about. I mean, this is like third time I'm going over it. But thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.